This is now zooming in on our expedition for today. We are going to watch me completely and utterly fail to make it up a tiny creek in the mountains. And the idea is that for hi Brian,
Hello.
in my entire life, we have been going up and down parts of this creek, and it was very easy. Unfortunately, that gave me the false sense of confidence that I could go from the bottom to the top in just a short amount of time. Io is also here, by the way.
I'm also here.
Sorry, I got jump scared by the start of the audio, but we're here.
Yes.
This is also in 360, so y'all can look around at different things if you want.
Oh, sweet.
Whoa. I'm gonna look behind you the whole time to make sure there's no tigers that are gonna get you.
Yeah, the best part is that your shadow, I can't see your head. I only see the 360 cam mounted, so it looks like you have a really tiny little head.
Oh yeah, I know, it's goofy, isn't it? I get really distorted a lot of the time.
I feel like this is what it feels like to be a parrot on a pirate's shoulder.
I bet you're right.
Lifelong dream.
Except that we're very far from the ocean.
So, this lake, this place always has a do not swim sign that I've never seen anyone observe. It's you got to teach the kids early to do some social disobedience.
Got it.
So I love this whole area, how quickly it just feels like you're in the middle of nowhere. You know, like you go 10 seconds off the beaten trail and you're in the wilderness again.
Yeah, just under these rhododendrons, it feels like we called an area of this Narnia when we were kids because it just feels completely immersive.
Yeah. I love you can hear the sound of the leaves crunching, and I love a good leaf litter layer. First of all, because who doesn't love a good crunchy leaf, but also I'm gonna get up on a soapbox. They're so important for insects, especially over winter. So like when leaves fall in your yard in the fall, like why rake them up and take them to a landfill when you could just leave them and
Leaf
they will
them.
decompose and exactly
Yeah.
leaf the leaves. And then it will just make your yard better because they will decompose and get all the nutrients. But also, like, you like fireflies, you like moths, well, they, like, hibernate in the little leaves over winter. So, like, if you want them, you better keep the leaves there.
The amount of work that people put into both raking their yard and then fertilizing their yard, that, like,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
This is one of the only times in life where doing less work actually gets you better stuff.
Yeah. Ooh, there's water
Got
now.
some deer prints here showing me how soft the ground is.
Oh, I can see the deer prints. I think.
This entire time I'm just fighting to not have the camera get knocked off my back.
Jog real quick.
This is an optimal hiking setup.
Did you just put it on your backpack or something? Like, how'd you attach it?
Yeah, I have it on like a little tiny tripod sticking out the top of my camelback.
Love.
So, Rhett, how old is this lake? It's a man-made lake. There's a dam from what, the 40s, 50s?
Yeah, it was made in the 1940s. They talked about making it before then, but the thing that actually got it constructed was that we needed to beat Hitler. So they were building
Underwater, even where I'm walking right now, is often underwater.
even where we're walking right now is often underwater. Thanks, past Rhett. So they built. I've never interrupted myself before.
What aquatic vegetation stranded in there.
I interrupt myself all the time. You got it. Step those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
So at any rate, they built this dam in order to power some, I think it was aluminum smelters for World War II. Unfortunately, destroyed a whole lot of habitat at the bottom of this lake and sunk a town to do it. So it's a real shame that it was done. But at this point, the lake is about 70 years old, or going on 80 years old. And it's an interesting phenomenon where, above it there's all these little streams leading into this gigantic mountain lake, and then coming out the other side, they pipe the water down further to the turbine, and then they let it out. And the Nantahala River, which comes out the other side of it, is a great whitewater rafting destination, and that's largely that, and keeping the dam going is kind of what they're managing this whole system for.
Covered in mud, right at the
I also
start.
love that you almost fell over 3 times during that.
Yeah, yeah. The struggle began early.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those like bad foreshadowing supercuts.
We're still underwater here. Still got these sedges.
We're still underwater here.
We should
should do a
underwater
counter
here.
at the bottom of the screen of how many times Rhett almost falls over.
I think that's a good idea. I'll start counting it before we explain it, and then people will
They'll know.
understand what the count means right now.
We have
They'll know then,
officially
too.
made it.
It'll be foreshadowing.
Yeah. Past Rhett says we've officially made it to the shady part of the creek.
Nice.
Uh-oh, better watch your step there. It's
Yeah.
kind of shady.
Yeah.
But
I don't think I've ever actually looked at the outlet. I always stop at the road.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know if I had either before this, which is gonna explain
Get
some
past this
things.
log. And then I'd say it's time to get our feet over
I
that.
watched a
Wash
different
off
video
this
of
mud.
some people who were like, we want to follow this river from the headwaters all the way to the Thames in London. And
Oh,
so they
that
were
was
like,
so cool. Yeah,
which
Ed
I'm
Pratt.
sure there's a couple people who have done videos of that nature, but they like at the beginning is a lot of it, like basically looks like a ditch with a little bit of water going through it and a lot of plants, and they just had a horrible time trying to push them. So I'm anticipating a lot of that for this video as well.
That's pretty much what this whole thing is. Yeah, I saw the one with Ed Pratt going from the top of the Thames to the bottom. That was such a cool video. I'm not sure if it was the same series you watched.
No, it was just 2 guys who were like, what if we did this thing? And they tried to do it in a cheap inflatable kayak from Amazon, which went
Excellent.
about as well as they expected.
By the end, they're just carrying it.
Yeah, pretty much. But it makes you realize that, like, just because water is moving through
Almost
an
lost the
area
camera there.
easily doesn't mean that a person can move through the area easily.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, I remember this being a lot clearer when we were young too, Rhett. I don't know if you remember that, but I think at some point, like
Almost lost the camera.
maybe someone had gone through and chopped a lot of this, but it's really overgrown now.
So I think that this isn't the part that we walked on when we were
Right.
kids, and I suspect that this is more deforested than the rest of it, even now. I think the rest of it still has the trees, but this area, I think the reason it was so much harder to get through is because there isn't a solid canopy above it, so there's a lot of underbrush growing over the creek.
That makes sense.
A lot of light hitting the ground.
Yeah. Especially rose bushes for some reason. There's an ungodly number of rose bushes.
They put them there just for you.
They really did. I think I'm probably the only person to go through here in a while, so it was just for me.
Yeah.
A special moment between you and nature.
Nature
Which
saying,
also
go
are-
away.
Also, aren't roses, like, fairly, like, complicated to cultivate? Because they need, like, acidic soils or something like that?
I don't know. There's a lot of feral roses in this area. I think people plant them and then kind of forget about them, and then they're just kind of in random places.
For whatever reason, like I heard...
That tree branch hit the camera button.
Oh,
But now
we're
that
gonna
it's
do
off
it.
my back, I'm
now.
gonna walk like this for a minute to get through this cramped area.
So that's the point when Rhett got in a cab and drove part of the way.
That's right.
Yeah. This is why when you are walking in the woods, if you walk past a branch, you hold it gently for the person behind you to grab so it doesn't hit them in the face and turn off their 360-degree camera.
Yeah, this comes up a
Yeah,
lot.
that's right.
Everyone behind me always has a 360 camera. Those jerks.
Yeah, and it's very common missed part of like trail safety and like trail courtesy and etiquette and everything like that. So like we're giving you all the good details right here, right now. the sound of water.
Yeah, me too.
Now, last time I went through here, I did find, and I don't remember the name of it, but a brown little speckled salamander. Did you find any on the way, Rhett? Do we have anything to look forward to?
We have nothing to look forward to.
Nice.
I'm
This
sorry.
trip is a
viewers.
failure in every way.
It truly is. Okay, so at first I wanted to get a drone shot of the entrance, right? And my drone wasn't working, so I spent hours fixing that. And now it's become the afternoon. And then I get down there, and like 4 other things didn't work. And I got down to this one camera in this one way, and here we go. So this is an example of an episode 1, and I am not going to tell you how it ends, but I suspect that it will end with a to be continued.
Like keeping an old fire hose.
Really just emblematic of what happens when you do science.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exploration of any kind ends up being kind of a sufferfest.
Yeah. The first time you do anything is really you're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Truly.
Well, we're learning machines, you know. And anytime you're doing something people haven't before, you have to go through the learning stage.
No matter how silly.
Yeah.
The sillier the better.
Oh, this thing's cool. Shelter from the rain. Pretty muddy though.
Ed Pratt, before he was doing his river projects, I think he unicycled around the world or something like that. He did, yeah, something very impressive and very silly at the same time.
I would be curious because like, you know, people will do like bike packing.
Pulled up with the tree that fell over.
How do you bike pack on a unicycle? Because
Through
it's not a
another
lot
tight
to
spot.
attach to.
You
it.
stack
Maybe
all
just
the
bring a
bags
backpack
on top
all
of
the
each
time?
other until it's ridiculously high in the air. I think if
Oh,
you've already
perfect.
committed to the unicycle, you have to go maximum ridiculous.
Yeah, I think so.
The more it happens, the more I think that putting the on-off button for filming on the top of the camera was a bad idea.
Death Stranding in IRL.
Yeah, right. You can hear me struggling to breathe.
Okay,
Climbing up the stairs, and you're like, oh my gosh.
And the stairs are rhododendrons and water.
Oop, the backpack
Yeah.
came off.
Now it's getting serious.
Yeah. If anyone happens upon this with a VR headset on, I'm sorry. This is you thought this was gonna be for you, and it's really not.
I mean, it is if you're looking for a bad time.
That's right. If you want to feel a lot like I felt while we were here, it's real
Yeah.
virtual reality.
VR challenge mode.
Yeah.
That's right.
This is fully immersive.
Truly. Only the best here at Wild Green Media.
Absolutely.
I also do love that this creek has like a completely clear, easy path off to the side the whole way. But you decide to commit to the water.
That was the rule. Okay, so here's the rule for this expedition, is that I have to go from the bottom to the top, and all forward progress has to be inside the creek.
maximum soggy trip.
That's right. And if I break that rule, you know what? I made the rules and I can change them.
You're inner fish maxing is what I'm hearing.
wow. That's a big tree that fell over. Is it still alive on the other side?
That's another hot take that I have is like,
Ooh,
I think
kinda.
as long as they are not a danger
That's crazy.
to people, I think people should leave dead trees standing more often, and like if trees fall over, I'm like, just leave them. They're so good for like the environment and stuff, but like I know that's like, you know, sometimes access and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, if I ever get the chance to own property and a tree dies, it'll be great.
And hey, if it falls across the road and cars can't come, that sounds like a bonus to me, to be honest.
That sounds like a bonus. Like, you don't have to keep trying to convince me.
I think you're absolutely right, Io. I think that that's a great thing to do. There's so much wildlife that needs those kind of standing dead snag trees in order to survive and find a place to live.
And one time, I was there was a pine tree that had fallen over in a storm, and I was like walking over, and because this was blocking a trail as part of my job, I was helping to remove it from the trail so people could access it, and I could hear the beetles inside the tree chewing on it.
Whoa,
and that was
that's cool.
That's really
crazy cool.
What does that sound like?
It was like little tiny chewing, scraping noises, and I was like, it took me a little while to figure out what it was, because I was like, it sounds like it's coming from inside the tree. Like, what is happening? And I like got up close to the tree, and I stood up far away, and like it was really quiet. And I was like, maybe it's in a building or a car or something. But no, I was like, it's definitely coming from inside the tree. And I was like, it's definitely gotta be a beetle who's just like chomping away.
First landmark is the marina out here.
So it was really cool.
Yeah, I especially love that because it's the. Sorry, I'm just noticing the boats. I especially love that because it's the epitome of you could have just walked on and not thought about it, but like the gnawing need to find the hunger just pushed you forward
Literally
until you made a discovery. Yeah, the gnawing on the wood. But that curiosity about the world, I feel like, just makes it so much deeper and finds so many more things than you would have otherwise.
Oh yeah, and it felt a little bit like I'm like sort of
I can go back on now.
semi-structured or like semi-making an effort to like be better at birdsong identification. And like whenever I hear a bird that I recognize and I can hear it but I can't see it, I'm like, I feel like I'm a spy, and like the bird is the spy, but I'm spying on the spy, but they don't know that I know who they are, and I'm like, it's the perfect cover. So it's kind of similar where I'm like, I know that you're there, but you don't know that I know that you're there, and I feel like a real sneaky nature detective.
Yeah, I 100% understand that feeling. So, Red, does this snake back around the lake? Is that where we are?
No, it doesn't snake back around the lake. It just goes up in a almost straight line.
Yeah, it suddenly made me feel a lot less confident in the cleanliness of the creek when you ducked into a pipe.
Yeah, I think that there are two of these along the path of the creek, because there's this and then there's the one that goes under the highway as well.
You're living the alligator lifestyle, crawling through culverts.
That's right.
I mean, this, if you think about it, like, this is what, like, early surveyors and explorers were doing. They were like, no one's ever been here before, so we're just gonna send some poor schmuck, sometimes named Rhett, up the creek just as far as he can go and see what he finds.
Me?
Like, you're just getting back to basics, really.
My name's not Brett, and I love that about me.
Yeah. What I especially love about those early explorers that you're talking about, though, is that at least in the Americas, all the ones that we know the name of, they were like, yes, we went and charted out 1,000 miles of territory on our own. Of course, with the Frenchmen who had already been there and told us where everything was, but we discovered it all.
And how did the Frenchman know? His Native American wife.
Right. Yeah, like they
Yeah.
would literally list on their crew, like, yes, you have, your 50 sailors, your cook, and of course the Frenchman. You must have the Frenchman.
Meanwhile, the Native American people are standing by and being like we already did this.
Like you're following a road, dude.
They're like, we know this area like the back of our hand, and you're bumbling around and you don't know what is going on, and you just can't ask for directions. Is really what it is.
You literally just crawled through a culvert. Who do you think put the culvert there?
Yeah. Act of God.
Yeah. God placed all these boats here for me, not people.
God loves boats. I don't know what to tell you.
That's right. God loves boats.
Okay, we did a jump cut. Where are we now?
We did not do a jump cut, actually. Oop, now we did a jump cut.
Oh, I'm a little ahead of you.
Let's see if I explain it. I don't remember this.
I don't see a
It
creek
was
anymore.
all a blur.
Maybe I'll explain it. I think that when I ducked down, it hit the button, and then later I hit it again to turn back on. Oh, is this when I went the wrong way?
Interesting.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Seems like it comes out of the ground.
What am I saying?
You said it seems like it comes out of the ground here.
Oh no!
Very astute observation.
This is after I turned the wrong way. Okay, so you guys have gotten the skinny on what happened. It was just after the camera turned off. I went the wrong way because I was following Google Maps' idealized version.
It looks like I split too early.
The look of despair on your face as you were checking your
Rocky
phone.
Bridge is actually over there. This is just something that slumps out of the ground.
And you don't even have, you couldn't even watch the footage to retrace your steps to see where you had gone wrong because it just wasn't recorded.
Oh, I knew.
Okay.
There's one clear spot where there's a fork in the
Oh,
creek.
okay. So you weren't too lost.
No, I wasn't truly lost, but I was not able to find where I wanted to go in that moment. I was like Winnie the Pooh lost.
Not all who wander are lost, but in this moment, Rhett sure is.
I feel like the desperation of this situation is enhanced by the fog on the screen too.
Interesting.
Fog
Yeah.
on the lens.
Yeah, I'm half expecting to see another Rhett over there that turns and smiles at you, BDG
Oh, God.
style.
I think
Now
I
this
was.
is the place.
I think I felt that way too.
I'm gonna go back.
It really adds to the immersion of the humidity of having the fog.
Yeah.
That's honestly if you have any kind of glasses and it's humid out, this is just what your vision is.
Right.
It's extra realism for the VR, the one person with the VR headset.
That's right.
For extra money, you can pay us and we'll come over to your house and spray you with a water bottle at the appropriate points.
You too could have wet socks.
This is kind of like my own Blair Witch Project.
Pretty soon the camera's gonna drop and you're gonna run away screaming, and then we'll be like, well, if you drop the camera, then who's on the Zoom call with us? Dun-dun-dun-dun.
Area X style.
This whole series just turns into a murder mystery.
That's right. It's important to show failures, right?
It's part of the process.
It is. It's like when people don't want to, they only want to publish papers if their results are significant. But I'm like, if you found nothing significant, that is also important to know and an indication.
Yeah. Yeah, the replication crisis is real for that.
Yeah. It's just as important to know what not to do, and it is to know what to do.
If anything, more important.
My theory with this episode is that people, while they enjoy seeing perfection, they also like watching people struggle.
Yeah. And this is like a real antithesis to the polished.
You're saying that the film is
videos.
making shit?
Yeah, like the influencers who go on a hike and they're like not even sweaty at all, and I'm like, did you really? And I'm like, but this is the real deal.
Yeah, this
That's
is
right.
real,
It's
man.
authentic.
Covered in mud, scared, lost in the woods.
This is the truth. We're giving you truth.
It's not bad. It's the truth.
That's why we call ourselves hike truthers.
That's right.
Definitely. So at this point, what were your thoughts? Were you thinking this is going well? Were you thinking this is going poorly?
I think I was thinking, this is over. I got to just turn around for today.
It seems strange to me that it would be so small at this point because it's a fairly sizable creek much higher up the mountain. So I guess that makes sense. It's just a little spring-fed run. And this is the real...
Well, there you have it. That's what I was thinking.
I was an empath and I could sense that we were about to talk about it, so I primed.
Yep.
Had that primed it ready. It's also always amazing to me how the headwaters of most things are very small. And so you're like, how could that possibly be like giant and magnificent? Or like have so much volume of water
I'm out of time. I'm just gonna head back down to the truck.
when it has like such simple origins, but like it's unassuming, and then it, the compounding effect of all things other nature, and there's probably, lots of metaphors in there of
Yeah, I was gonna say.
things starting
I
small.
love that
and
for
then becoming-
insert metaphor here.
insert metaphor here. And I'm just, and also just springs in general. I'm like, that's just water coming out of the ground. That's amazing.
For
yeah,
free?
It seems like magic.
It truly does. Yeah, magic and free.
Yeah. Rhett, how would you describe this whole ecosystem and what's so special about it?
Oh, it's amazing. So the Appalachian Mountains are some of the oldest mountains on Earth. They've been around longer than bones, longer than trees. I'm not sure if they've been around longer than sharks. They've been around a really long time. They formed when Pangea formed, not when it split apart. So they've been pulled apart and taken across the world since then. There's little bits of them in Africa. There's little bits of the same original chain in Scotland, in Norway, in Canada, and then there's this big section of them in the eastern side of the North American continent. That's where we are. And you can really feel the age in these mountains. They're low compared to the mountains out west in the US, but they are magical for it. And whereas when we're out west and you're hiking, you get incredible views very consistently. But I find that I feel almost like I'm on something, like I'm on a planet. And when when I'm hiking here, or when I'm struggling up a creek or whatever in this area, I feel like I'm in something. Like I'm completely surrounded and enveloped by nature.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distinction. I've never heard it said that way, but I absolutely agree with that. And I think it's important to note that it's 1 centimeter of rainfall too little to be called a rainforest or something like that.
Some very small amount. It's below the threshold. So there are they're called phase diagrams that they've made where it like compares on one axis the amount of water, on another the temperature, and it shows it's split, with different air regions of that graph showing, this is a rainforest, this is a desert, whatever. And the section for temperate rainforest, so it's like cold and wet, it's it's just barely out of range, like a few inches maybe, to be a temperate rainforest. Some amount that might, I'm not sure, how ecologically different it is for that difference.
It certainly doesn't feel ecologically different when you're in it. It is wet and it is lush. Those are the two things that in my mind.
Yeah, and it has a lot of different kinds of stuff. Like, for
Yeah.
example, this exact area that I'm walking through, although maybe not this marina, is the world capital of salamander diversity. So there are more salamander species within a short distance of here than anywhere else on Earth.
And those are the wettest little guys, so that's got to be a rainforest.
They are the wettest little guys. Fish, not little guys. That's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Sorry, fish.
Sorry.
Now you can see why I was comfortable doing this with little preparation or navigation, is because there was a bailout, which is just walking up to the road, which is right next door.
Yeah.
So at this point, I've bailed out.
That is an important part of any adventure trip you go on. You gotta have a backup, a bailout plan, and know sort of like, if things get bad and I gotta, hit the brakes, what's the protocol there? So always good to have a plan. Also, tell someone where you're going and when you'll be back. Very important parts of preparation. Oh, and I will say, in terms of like being on a planet versus in a planet, I've been in the Appalachian Mountains in like very early spring that was still kind of winter, where the trees had no leaves on them. And then I've also been in them in like midsummer, where everything has leafed out and is, lush. And the difference is truly astonishing, because when there's no leaves, you can see off the mountains and things like that. But when everything has leafed out and is like in the peak growing season, I mean, it's almost like you're walking through a big like tree tunnel, because it's canopy overhead, and also like the understory is so thick and lush, so you can't even like see too far through the brush, and it's like, wow, there is a lot green and growing here.
Yeah. I'm here right now in early April, and the leaves are starting to come on the trees after we got some rain this weekend. They're starting to leaf out, but primarily the early flowers have come in. So it still looks like a pretty open and barren landscape with all the trees not quite leafed out yet, but there are these giant clumps of flowers all over the place. So a lot of wildflowers on the ground of all different colors, and there are these big puffs of white dogwood flowers as you look over the landscape wherever there's a dogwood tree.
Love some wildflowers.
Yeah, and the just the variety of wildflowers too. I mean, you'll see, like, if you pay attention to where you're walking, you'll just see 1,000 different little clumps of, completely different, weeping flowers or little purple pop-ups and things like that. Like, just things you won't see grown in a garden, because they would, they're not big and showy all the time. But they're so elegant and so interesting, and they have some little bug out there that's looking just for them.
Yeah, so important for the ecosystem, for the pollinators. If you want to learn more about wildflowers, check out our podcast episode where we interview the creator of the Roadside Wildflower Guide at high speed. I think I might have mixed the name up again. But if you've ever don't have time to stop and look at wildflowers in life in the slow lane, it'll tell you how to identify them when you're zooming past them at 65 miles an hour.
It is
That's
really
one
great.
of my favorite field guides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I did for safety on this trip, and it's the reason why we're not still going up the creek at this point, is that I set a turnaround time, and I said no matter where I am, whether I haven't gotten very far or if I'm right next to the headwaters or whatever, if I get to this time, I have to turn around. So we hit that time.
Good call.
We ran out of time going up the wrong creek and having camera trouble. So I just accepted it and turned around and moved on.
And also important to bring enough water wherever you're going. So if you're like run out of water really soon, maybe think about turning around a little ahead of time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I think the other thing to take out of this too, though, is just the reminder that like you don't have to go that far out of your way to find really cool stuff. I mean, obviously, not everybody has access to the mountains, but wherever you are, there's gonna be something really cool that it'll have a road right next to it. You can get there without having to go way out, but just because you can't take a huge vacation or time off to go do something doesn't mean you can't go walk up a creek.
Yeah.
1000%. I can't remember. I've been searching for who said this originally, and I don't know who it was. If you know who it was, let me know. But they said, if you want to find beauty, you don't have to look farther. You just have to look closer, because there's so much more wildlife and nature around you than you think there is, even if you just live in a city. Not even, I say just the city, but if you live in a city, it just might not be in a form that you initially think, but if you look around, there's so many different kinds of species of ants, in New York City, or little tiny plants growing in the cracks of the sidewalks, or birds that once you kind of start to listen and realize, you're wow, there's a lot of life happening going on around here. So usually you have to sort of stop, slow down, pay attention. But there's nature is not just somewhere mystical out there. Nature is also where you are.
Yeah.
Every city is at all times desperately trying to return to a natural state, and we're just holding it together as well as we can. So you can certainly find it no matter where.
And if you want a weird adventure, there's always a creek or some equivalent.
There's always.
But the edge of the
To our desert friends, I'm sorry.
Sorry, desert people. I don't know, a lot of the time their cities are built along the only river in the area. If you have any creek or any flowing body of water, that's especially one that's small and hard to go through, you have an on-demand adventure. All you got to do is say, I want to go from point A to point B in this creek, and you will have something interesting happen.
Well, and the best part about that too is a lot of the times, in America anyway, you can't just go traipsing through people's yards. I mean, we don't have a right to roam, unfortunately, so there's a lot of limitations. But if you're caught walking up a creek and somebody says, "What are you doing on my property?" and you say, "Creek," most people get it.
Yeah, most people don't really mind.
You have a ready story available.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the waterways and stuff in the United States are public property, public access. It's just
usually
whether or not you can, with some exceptions, but usually you might not be able to access someone's land to access that water, but the water itself is often public use, public availability.
I think it's
It
supposed to be.
depends
I
on
think
your
that
state.
Unfortunately sometimes the actual enforcement varies, and
I'm sure it does.
If I've seen cases where the local enforcement kicks people off out of the water even though they're not stepping on the land, but in theory you're right, and you should. I mean, you have the right to do it. It's just whether or not you'll be able to.
It depends
Yeah.
on what state you're in. For example, Wyoming landowners own halfway out to the middle of whatever water body they're near, or whatever river they're bordering. So
Oh, interesting.
I gotta dry up this river so that I have more land.
yeah, right. This is very controversial there because it gets in the way of, for example, fly fishing and rafting out there.
Interesting. Yeah, check all your local laws before going on any adventures.
By the
Blanket,
way,
cover statement for Wandering Leaves.
yeah, right. Do not try this at home and blame us for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're gonna try it, we were never here.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, the sunset is really pretty here right now. I just snapped a photo of it while we were talking. I'll throw it up somewhere, probably in the really blurry area of this video so that the viewers can see it.
So there's something to look at.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Note to future adventures: bring a little washcloth to and dab the camera every now and then.
No, it was worse than that because it was fogging inside the lens, not on the
Oh.
outside. So there
Oh,
wasn't
you got
really
no hope.
anything I could
That's
easily
brutal.
do about it. Yeah.
I mean, what even can you do at that point? Anything?
You can bring more than one lens, or in this case, because the camera doesn't have an interchangeable lens, you can bring more than one camera. And then another thing you can do, if it's really cold outside and you're worried about your camera being too hot, is that you can, you can bring something to try to cool it down a little bit. You can do the opposite if it's warm out, but it's really just a hazard, and the easiest thing to do in general is to swap the lens on a camera where that's a possibility. Unfortunately, my little 360 cam can't do that.
It's okay. I, for one, like a good Gaussian blur.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, full circle. We're back at the lake.
I look like Lord Voldemort right now. I'm right on the edge where it parses the video. Where it stitches the screen.
Yeah, I see that. You just got a really huge underbite.
Yeah.
It's a little bit Cyclops. It's a little bit Be Not Afraid.
Okay, I think I have some takeaways when I get in the truck.
An after-action review.
That's right.
So I'm kind of coming in here with my tail between my legs a little. The whole creek's probably about a mile. I had about 4 hours before cutoff time. I thought an hour and a half of that will probably be enough to go up. Then I can go down a little bit faster, and I'll still have about an hour to spare. But man, that lower section is a lot harder than the parts that I did as a kid. It's got a lot more thorns, it's a lot more open, which means that more stuff has grown into it, ironically, and it's all on private property. I just didn't want to bother anyone, and I got a little bit lost almost immediately because there was a side creek I didn't know about, so I took the turn too early, and wound up finding myself at a little spring that just came straight out of the hill. Totally useless to me. Right behind that is not the road that I can recenter and relocate myself on, but somebody's yard. So I decided I knew I was beat, turned around and went home. We'll just have to come back and take this on again next year.
This was recorded in 2025, so next year is this year.
Next year is now. What are you doing
right.
talking to us? You gotta get out there.
Yeah, you got a creek to walk.
That'll be my next trip here.
That's true. Maybe wait till the leaves are nice again.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Wait till it greens up a little bit.
Although, I mean, it might be easier to move through the underbrush if there's just less underbrush.
I don't know. The hard part's usually the sticks and the vines, which
Yeah.
are still there.
I think those thorns are going to be there no matter what.
I don't think you're quite right in your sum up. I don't think it's the part that you were on that was the hard part. I think it's like that all the way up now.
Do you think so?
Yeah, last time I went, which was maybe 3-4 years ago, walking down from the normal spot that we go on, it was really dense in a way that I'd never seen it. So I think maybe there was someone who was actually going through every so often and cutting it or something, and they stopped. I don't know, but
Interesting.
You're gonna have a fun trip the whole way up, I think.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Well, until that happens, remember to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/wildgreenmemes. That's memes with an M. Until next time, I'm Rhett.
I'm Brian.
I'm Io.
And happy Year of the Bat.